Welcome. It is great to have you with us for the latest edition of ESPN FC. Brian McBride, Alejandro Moreno, Paul Mariner, and Sebastian Salazar here in the studios. We will be joined in just a bit by Raf Honigstein as well. Guys, big match to preview on Wednesday, Europa League, but I think everybody's minds on what happened Monday in Manchester, a bombing that took the lives of 22 and injured over 100 more. Of course, hitting particularly close to home for Manchester United. These are scenes from their training session this morning where they observed a moment of silence for the victims and their families. Jose Mourinho had this to say, quote, "We're all very sad about the tragic events last night. We can't take out of our minds and hearts the victims and their families. We have a job to do and fly to Sweden to do that job. It's a pity we cannot fly with the happiness we always have before a big game. I know even during my short time here that the people of Manchester will pull together as one." Paul, it's hard to imagine that when United takes the field in Stockholm on Wednesday that this won't be right at the front of their minds.
Oh, it's got to be. It's impossible for it not to be. Having been brought up 10 miles away from Manchester, all my family's in that area. I know this area very, very well. You can never draw a line between the atrocities that we see nowadays in the world, but particularly targeting this audience is extremely touching. I agree with Mourinho. I think that the players will take this on board. The city has come together, you know, City United, the little play on words there with Man City, the City and United. So it's sad, but this is a coming together of a fantastic place. It's a joyous place to go out, to have fun, to live your life. It's a great place. So I'm sure the players will want to, you know, put on a performance and bring a trophy back. It's only a small consolation, but let's hope they can do it.
And it would sound ridiculous to try to transition now into analyzing the game and previewing the match. But you have to imagine that there's an emotional component now on this game that wasn't there before. And that is very much at the forefront of the players' minds and hearts. Because now there's a responsibility, an emotional responsibility to go to Sweden, to go to Stockholm, and get the trophy that would alleviate some moments for the peoples, for the families, for the victims. It's not going to take this tragedy away. It's not going to erase it. But what will it do is that it'll provide a moment of joy for people that are otherwise in a situation where they're trying to forget something that is obviously unforgettable.
And as a professional, you know, you go through some tough periods becoming a professional. None like this. But during that period, you learn how to focus that energy and really get you ready for your game. And I imagine that that's exactly what's going to happen for Manchester United. They'll have that much more energy and that much more drive. So as tragic as it is, they can make some positive come out of it as far as for the city of Manchester.
Ale, you mentioned it. It's almost an impossible transition to make, but let's do our best to do so. Here's the projected starting lineup for Jose Mourinho and Manchester United against Ajax. Of course, Eric Bailly suspended, so some questions there in the heart of the Manchester United defense. But the big talking point is Sergio Romero to get the start. Now, Mourinho said this is Romero's competition, but with David De Gea lurking in the wings, I think a lot of people thought Mourinho might back off of that. Ale, what do you think?
I think that Jose Mourinho does well in continuing to play Sergio Romero. This is clearly a conversation that he's had with Sergio Romero and, of course, with David De Gea in saying that this is the opportunity for Romero to play. This is the guy that brought you to this point of the competition. You're going to continue to ride Romero. This has nothing to do with David De Gea as much as it does to the credibility of Jose Mourinho, not only to Sergio Romero, but to the rest of that locker room. The fact that he's put forth an idea that Sergio Romero is his guy in this competition and continues to believe in him.
The key, Ali, to what you just said there is the communication between the two goalkeepers and the manager. It's absolutely key that conversation has happened. De Gea apparently is for it. He's played his couple of games, so he will get his medal if they're successful. So,
but Paul, wait. If you're the manager, do you not go with De Gea? I would. And you have to win this game as much as Mourinho has to win it. Look, I understand why for Romero, but for the team.
Seb, there's a policy now in modern-day football where you have... United have got two quality goalkeepers. If he's had a conversation earlier in the season and said, "You're my man for this tournament," and he's engaged the goalkeeper coach, the goalkeepers, then that's what he's got to stay with. Otherwise, he's going to lose all credibility. It's as simple as that.
It's integrity with his team. And you do lose some integrity if you make a change. You have players that are in similar situations, maybe not told that they're going to only play cup games, but situations where your manager has said, listen, I need to rest you here, I'm going to play you there. Then if you change that, and it's just a goalie, you start questioning whether or not he's actually telling you something that's truthful. For me, this is a bigger issue because it's a touchy issue, and I do agree with keeping Romero in there because of the fact that this is a team, this is a group, you have to stick with what you've said. But you also have David De Gea that is, quite honestly, a better goalkeeper, and you have Real Madrid looking over his shoulder trying to pull him into their wings. So you don't want to go into a situation where Romero makes a mistake, you don't bring home the opportunity to play in Champions League next year, and you have people asking, why didn't you play the better goalkeeper?
If David De Gea goes to Real Madrid, it will have nothing to do with playing this match or not. That's a decision that would have been made prior to this game, if that's what David De Gea wants to do. The other thing I would say is that this is the guy that brought you to the dance. Right. Sergio Romero brought you to this point. You believe in this guy. You've made that very clear. I'll turn it around, because it's easy to say, what if Sergio Romero makes a mistake? Well, what if you play De Gea and he makes a mistake? Then the conversation and the discussions and the questions afterwards are gonna happen regardless. So you might as well stick to the things that you have had conversation with your players, have your players believe in what you're doing, and it may just translate in a good performance on the field.
Yep.
All right, so Manchester United obviously dominating the headlines. There is another team involved in this, Ajax, their sporting director here. We take a lot of risk from behind, Marc Overmars says. We try to play up front most of the time, most teams say. We lock it down on defense, then we will see. We know in football, most coaches think, I have to secure the back. When that's good, we can move on. Raf, is it possible for Ajax to keep this aggressive, risky philosophy in a final against Manchester United and come out on top?
Well, maybe, but I think it's really interesting that everyone connected with Ajax, the coach, Overmars, all the players, have spent all week talking about the fact that they are so attacking, not like United, not playing a slow game, not playing a possession game, that they're so direct. And I just wonder if this is maybe a bit of a ploy, that maybe they will change it a little bit. Of course, they play with high intensity, they're very fast in the transition, but maybe they'll start a little bit deeper and try to hit United on the break, because one thing United haven't really done so well with is with the ball. They struggle to break teams down. So I'm just wondering if we see a slightly different, even if it's just nuances, slightly different setup from Ajax on Wednesday night.
Raf, what have you made so far of Ajax's performance throughout the Europa League? Because they have been nothing if not entertaining.
No, they've been sensational. Ralf Rangnick, the Leipzig sporting director, said to me that he hasn't seen a Dutch team playing this well in decades, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. I mean, this is an Ajax team that really brings back the memories of Ajax 20 years ago. Not only are they young, I think the only guy over 25, Lasse Schöne, will be in midfield. Everybody else, 22, are younger. But also the way that they play, classic 4-3-3 system, 3 strikers up front, really, really fast, flying fullbacks. I mean, they are so good to watch. But, of course, that comes with a price, and the price is that they can be overwhelmed, especially away from home, when they perhaps don't quite have the confidence to play with the same exuberance. They have looked a little bit vulnerable. On neutral ground, we'll have to wait and see, but I think they have an outsider's chance.
All right, let's see what the SPI says. 75% Manchester United, and an outside chance for Ajax. 25%, that according to 538.com. Now, sometimes we roll our eyes at the SPI, but you're definitely going to roll your eyes at this. What? This is, I'm told, a psychic cow.
Well, really?
The name.
Really?
Oh.
In Holland, and it has clearly chosen Ajax as the winner for the Europa League final.
There's no food in the Manchester United thing, that's why. What a fix that was.
Potentially some bias. Who are we going with, the SPI or the cow?
I'm going with neither. I think it's nowhere near the SBI's percentages. I think this is a really difficult game. United is struggling to score goals with that front three, 10 goals between the 3 of them. It's a difficult game, but my heart is saying that United are going to come through. I thought Ajax would win last week, but things have changed a little bit over the last 24 hours. I'm going to go a narrow victory for United.
Cow versus computer.
Well, no, I'm not picking the cow, and I'm not picking the computer either, because the SPI sometimes has let us down. So I would just go with the fact that there is no coincidence in the idea that Mark Overmars is only talking about their attacking half. It's because in the defensive half, they have nobody. They cannot defend. This team, Ajax against Lyon, could not defend. And that's the only reason in which I'm picking Manchester United. You add that to the emotional component we spoke of already. I think there is too much going right now in the direction of Manchester United. I think there'll be too much for Ajax.
I said it yesterday. I think if Ajax is able to spread Manchester United out, where Manchester United can't get any pressure on the ball, they're going to have a difficult time. That's why I don't think that's going to happen. I think Jose Mourinho is going to have him sit back, be compact, and really hit him on the break. That's going to help Rashford up front. You've got some pace. I think that alone will set them apart, and Manchester United will take it.
All right, we'll have to wait to Wednesday to find out on